Hey guys, Vendetta event just kicked off. Do a quick prize analysis, really just to talk about some key points with a lot of this stuff. So the Annihilator battleship, if you didn't know, it actually has 2 degrees faster turning radius than any other battleship in the game. It also has a shit ton more cargo and way less repair time for the amount of health that you're going to get for it. Overall, right now, this is the best battleship in the game. Even if you don't put the rupture beam and beam capacitor 3 on it, it is still by far the best battleship in the game, just for that repair time alone. And everyone was like, there were a couple people that I heard say, oh, it's only got 1 armor slot. It only needs 1 armor slot, so who the hell cares? Targeting computer came back, but what I really found interesting was the overcharged warheads is actually for the decimator. So it kind of answers that call for a special for the cluster missiles, which I actually like, and this may prompt me to make just bare bones decimators with some cluster missiles on it, maybe a couple of the event cluster missiles that they gave us, and send them out there for 10 hours of repair and do a bunch of damage, have a little fun. I'm all about that. So, and it could be fun. Obviously, if you're fighting other decimators, that's not going to work. We're talking you can attack anything over level 55 with that. So just think of all the, I don't know, dreads that you're going to run into, or zeals, or even hellfires. Who knows? It could be a really fun toy. And I can definitely see why the high-end corners do it. I wanted to do it, I just don't have that kind of money. So yeah, here you go with the targeting computer. Still skeptical about that. I kind of want to see how it works with the beam weapon, just to see if this overcharged warheads and rupture beam, specifically with the Reapers, to see if you could get a shit ton of them in range and then just fire on all of them at the same time. It'd be really cool. But yeah, so coming down, we got all the res. Really, the res, I think it came out to like, I don't know, 250 million helium and 100 million antimatter and 250 million mineral. I only got it because I needed resources to start a build, but it's not really going to fill your holes. If you didn't get the Hellfire, hopefully you're new. But it's here. It's definitely worth getting, but I would definitely focus on the Annihilator. If you can get the Hellfire, you can get the Annihilator, and you want the Annihilator. It's better than the Hellfire, I promise you. So some of the fleets that I'm going to be using for this. We'll start off with the fleets, the lower end fleets. So looking at the lowest end that I'm going to be flying in this video is going to be these broadswords. So you've got Meta 1, Optics 5, Nova 1, and Nova 2. Below 5 minutes repair, so the whole fleet is insta-rep, and you have 756 DPS. I'll also throw this out there because there may be a lot of people out there that still have a lot of ships like this. You know, they got Komodos. They don't know how to do this event. They can't hit the Reapers because they didn't make Punishers, but they have all this, you know, this high-end tech. Well, guess what? They're still used for it. Same thing with ships like this, right? Even though I have Nova, a lot of people still have Aurora, Tridents, and stuff like that. So let's go ahead and put those to use. We'll start with that 37 right there. So I already know that the broadswords won't be able to take it. They just barely die. But this will give you a good idea. This is the highest level fleet that you can hit in planet. Pardon me. So I'm just going to auto this. These are really actually soft fleets compared to, well, this whole fleet. You saw the DPS. It's nothing to shake a finger at, but this is just a comparison with any kind of fleet like this. It doesn't matter what it is. If it has, I'm going to say, more than 150 DPS on it and a decent amount of tank, you're going to do very well against these fleets, and you're just going to be able to keep hitting them forever. And that's going to be how you can get your points. You don't necessarily have to hit the fleets outside of planet to finish this event. We were all, well, I wouldn't say that we all were, but some of us remember what it was like back in the old days, where sometimes all you could do to finish that first riot was farm and planet with insta ranks for 12 hours a day. So that's that one. I'm going to go ahead and hit this 27 with the little 33 broadsword fleet. So here you'll see, I was a little worried the first time I did this about the amount of squadrons that you have here against these broadswords, but they actually do quite well against them. The squadrons really don't do any damage. You guys saw it. I only have Meta 1 fit into these broadswords, and you're about to see how much damage they don't do. That being said, I feel like my Novas should pretty much kill those squadrons, even though they really don't that first pass. But you see this guy right here taking the hits. He's really not taking any damage at all. So yeah, coming up, you can see here, there's really nothing. I could probably dock this fleet and almost be insta-rep as is, and I get a whopping 759 intel. Not a lot, but you couple it with 6 other fleets out here doing the same thing, and it definitely adds up. Alright, so the next thing we're going to take a look at is going to be the Reapers. So here's what I'm going to be using for the first 2 hits. So I'm going to hit a 60, and then I'm going to hit a 68. This is the fleet that I'm going to be using. 5k DPS, fleet bay 12, first off, 5k DPS, looking at 13.5 hours of repair. I've got just a Mark 1 Punisher with 2 meta shields, Xeno Disintegrator 2x3, and then a 1. And I run binary on all of my cruisers because I do fleet versus fleet with these ones too, and then I have a skirmish armor. If they was a higher Mark level, at Mark 2 I like to throw on a one of the blue-yellow resistors as well, but it's only Mark 1, so that's what I go with. And all of them mimic that build. Then my carrier, I run a simple recharge shield with armored thrusters and Glad 1x6. Now a lot of people ask me why I do that. Here's why I do it. 1400 DPS, 7,000 mass. You can see if I was running anything, I've got maybe 609 mass to play with, so I can't fit anything higher than that. And even if I was fitting bombers or something like that, I'd be pushing it. And so yeah, it's a pretty decent build. The other thing too is level 69, right? So if I was to take this Valhalla out and replace the Dom level 69, how many other Dominion carriers out there do that? A little pro tip that I like to run. So yeah, so let's go ahead and head outside of planet, and we will mess these bad guys up. So at this point I need resources kind of bad, so I'm bringing my cargoes in too, but actually I brought the farmers in. Whoops, usually I have a cargo in that slot. So I'm hitting a 60. This is the first thing I'm going to hit. We're going to come into it. You see that I'm running a wedge. I could have showed you that earlier, but I am running a wedge and I leave it on auto. I don't group anything. However, I will say I run this fleet on auto, but it's not completely auto. Sometimes what you'll see when you're autoing out of any formation is that sometimes these cruisers tend to want to veer off away from the carrier. I like to keep the carrier kind of in the center of everything. So if I have to, I'll pull the cruisers back towards the carrier. Now you can run it in a brick. That was kind of the first strategy that people used against Reapers, was to just sit with auto off and make a nice box around your carrier and let the Reapers circle you, and that worked well back then. What I've found now is that for whatever reason they actually target the carrier a lot more if they're on other ships close to it. So you'll see there that one's targeting the carrier, so I can kind of come down here and primary him. I can also take and primary with a carrier, which again 1400 DPS, nothing to shake a stick at. And I do this at the high level too. So you'll see it's not a perfect auto, but it's close enough. You really don't have to do any skillful piloting. You just select ships and shoot shit with them. So there I took, so you get 55,000 points. And I took at the end 4% damage. So we're at 96% right now. And now this isn't going to be a perfect statistic, but let's go and find ourselves. Oh, there's a 68. Perfect. So collect my res there. Dock, and I accidentally hit 3. So let's dock that fleet. None that matters, it's insta-rep. Alright, so here we come on a 68. Again, I do the same thing. One thing that's going to change drastically, though, that you have to kind of figure, the higher you go, the more likely you are to have your fleet get erratic and way away from the carrier. And what happens then is you get one ship, every now and then it'll end up way the hell out here, and it'll be dragging 3 of these things along with them. Typically, they're these guys back here, and they're pumping a lot of damage down on him. Nobody else is taking any damage. Because they're all over here because they were killing the rest of these guys, and this guy's way the hell over here, so taking all the damage by himself, trying to kill everything by himself, it's not a good situation to be in. So I figured I learned that mistake kind of the hard way using this account, running these Mark 1 Punishers with 900 DPS versus the 980 and whatnot. So just watch for that. That's why, like I said, I like to watch for it. We'll see if any of these guys do it. They look like they're staying in a pretty good group. Here's where I'll take, and I'll do this. I'll pull all my fighters back to kill that one. And you see he's going down. He's going down pretty good. But now that he's away from the carrier, I'm just not going to bother. But they're all attacking him anyways. So you see here, he's kind of doing it, but he's still got another guy right here. But you can see how they can get way away. I'm not too worried about it this time, just because of the simple fact that everything is still kind of centralized. And he's angling this way, but sometimes they aren't. So just be aware of that. So this one actually made the first hit look bad because I got 130,000 points. I took just as much damage, which kind of makes you ask the question, what is the difference? Now this may have been, 96 and a half, and it took it down to 90 and a half. Who knows? I don't know how they do this math. But it went from 96 to 91, so negligible for over twice the points. So just take that into account. I think they're still adjusting these fleets though. I know that they have to be adjusting the base hits, because the first time I hit with my main, which was only at 50% health on the base to begin with, it nearly pancaked me. So they're doing something. But yeah, it's good to see though. Kicks eye, adjusting stuff in the middle of an event. Who would have guessed? Alright, so I finally found a 68. I'm going to go ahead and engage. We'll see what happens. Alright, so we finally found a 68. Let's go ahead and engage this bad boy. See what happens. Again, loyal battalion. I'm going to leave it on auto, but I'm going to do like I said, and sometimes you just have to manage your fleet. That's just how it is. So let's just go ahead. I'll double click this guy and we'll let it follow him around for a little bit. Yeah, they're doing a good job of staying over here. The one thing that I would say is that I would definitely watch my fleets if I were you guys. If you don't, and you ever, are wondering why you have massive damage to one ship that the rest of them don't have, it's probably because he constantly gets put into situations where he floats off and does his own thing. Call it Private Joe Snuffy if you want, but that's what he's doing. I almost promise you. So, easy 130k intel, 2% damage. Really not a whole lot of a difference in my opinion. I have a lot more armor on this fleet than I have in the other fleet, so 2% damage probably equals 4% damage on that fleet. But yeah. Okay guys, so you'll notice this one's slightly different than the last one. One, I'm running Loyal Battalion with the carrier in slot 1 like you would expect. 2, I have 5 ships because I'm running Fleet Bay 13. So here I've got my Mark 3 and Mark 2 Punisher builds. Mark 3s run a XL2 with Tallow 1 by 2. And then the resistors are skirmish and yellow, blue, whatever the hell that one is. And my Mark IIs have an XL1 with same thing on the resistors, and they also only have, well, that one has it, this one has that with that. So this is an older fit I was playing with. This is also an older fit. I realized I should not have refit them until I got them Mark III at least, because then I could just keep tacking Talonite armor on, have the resistors I wanted, have the DPS that I wanted. But yeah, again, binary 2, because that's what I like to run. This carrier, full loadout. I run 1 Glad, 2 Chargers, 3 Rangers. That's my pretty much go-to fit. And then I have my good old trusty recharge shield right there. So let's go ahead and see how this fleet engages with those 68s, shall we? Oh, that one's too far away. What a shame. Hey guys, thanks for sticking around this far. This is kind of my first how-to video for an event. I just want to talk to you guys a little bit about my Patreon page. The goal of that page isn't to show off what I got or anything like that. Really the goal is just to kind of help bring the community together as a whole. I hope to have a lot of instructional videos on not just the events and farming, but mainly fleet versus fleet and how to get guys into that. It's kind of the one thing that not a lot of people have a lot of videos out there for. I know I'm not the greatest at it, but I'm not the worst at it either. So I kind of want to share what I know and what I've learned, but I'm definitely not willing to just let anyone do it, or let anyone in the page, and that's why I don't just post how-to videos on YouTube. I post them on Patreon. So if you want to get involved and be a part of that, and it sounds like something that you'd be interested in, please go ahead, subscribe. I would definitely appreciate it, and I would hope that I have something that's worthwhile for everybody. I know that there's probably going to be a lot of haters. I really don't worry about that. It's to be expected. People aren't going to like me. It's a community. You get that everywhere you go, and I kind of expect that. But hopefully we can kind of create our own little community too, and have a lot of fun doing it. So that's kind of my goal. So if you guys liked what you saw in this video, check out some of my other videos. If you like it, go ahead and subscribe. If not, whatever. But it's just something to think about. Hopefully look forward to seeing you guys next time, and I definitely hope to see you guys back around soon. If you have any questions, like I said, feel free to ask. I'm definitely here to help, but yeah, it's a community. Let's make it better.